All right, so this is just a couple of questions, or answers to a couple of questions on this project. Number one, I am finishing the top. I wasn't clear, I guess, at the end of the video. I'm not going to finish the cabinet for a year, let it gray up, and then I'll try some kind of an oil wax finish on it. But definitely, I'm finishing the top because it would just warp and crack and turn into a mess. I'm using a really dark stain. This is, I think it's Black Onyx by Czar. And the finish that I'm using, the clear coat, is Spar Varnish by McCluskey's. I'll just get the can over here. I've used this before on furniture that's on the upstairs of the deck, and it works great. This is going to be a satin finish. The stuff upstairs is a gloss finish, and this is Man O' War Spar Varnish, and it's time tested. I've had great luck with it, so that's what I'm using. Another question about the top was, what was the groove in the bottom, or what's the drip cap for? The drip cap, or the drip edge, as the water runs around the bottom of the cabinet, it hits that edge and falls instead of rolling underneath the cabinet. Why didn't I use 4x4s instead of 2x4s and laminate them together for the legs? The reason why I didn't use 4x4s is I didn't have any. I ended up making all the Douglas Fir parts to that cabinet out of the wall that I had built for the sauce hinge video, so I was just reusing material. And also, I do find that by laminating the two boards together, it's a little bit more stable than the 4x4s, especially some of the 4x4s that are available at the home store. Sometimes there's not a great selection, and they can have a pretty good whoop in them right from the start. So there's two reasons there. One is I think it's a little bit more stable with the glue up, and the other was I just had the 2x4s. When will the sink? Okay, a lot of people wanted to know, where will the sink drain? I'm going to hook the drain up to a soaker hose and water my yard with it. Now this is just going to be a sink for rinsing off your hands, rinsing off vegetables, things like that. It's not like there's going to be a dishwasher attached to this. It's really no different than having a hose on the side of your house. There was one or two comments about all the work that I'm doing around the barn and how long have I lived here and how long do I plan to stay. I've been here for almost 20 years and I plan on staying for a while. I think eventually I would like to move to Vermont, but I do like New Jersey, and we're next to the ocean, the kids are surfers, and it's a nice area. New Jersey's has some nice places in it. But what I'm doing with the barn and all the work with the garden and the kitchen is it's really creating kind of a quarter circle of what is this show. So it's woodworking. The idea of the show is, the heart of the show is woodworking, home improvement, things like that. I know that's what most of the audience wants, but I'd like to learn about new things, so I'm doing the beekeeping, and I figure if I'm learning about it, I can tell you guys about it, and if you're into it, great. If not, then just tune in on Saturday. Also gardening, food, these are all things I like, and so I'm going to make these all part of the show, and it's all sort of that quarter circle. That's just the way it looks in my mind. I kind of start with the beehives, the garden, the barn, the kitchen, and so the whole show will evolve around that. So that's why I'm doing so much work and I like to do the work. I was asked a few times, once in this video, but a few other times, how do I like the Bosch miter saw? I really like it. It works great. It is nice to have the extra room in the shop because it swings on this arm instead of the bars or poles that a lot of miter saws run on. So I'm really liking this saw, and I was just telling a friend about it today, so it's good. A few people thought I was allergic to Douglas Fir. I'm not really allergic to Douglas Fir. It does kind of affect me a little bit, but nothing like pine. Pine I really can't stand. If I were to cut a piece of pine on the table saw, I would break out in a rash. If I were to handle pine a lot and then touch my face, my eyes would absolutely swell shut. And that wasn't always the case. I used pine up until about maybe 10 or 12 years ago. And when I first started woodworking, and I was working at the Woodworker in Wayne, New Jersey, 90% of everything we made was made with knotty pine. So it's just an allergy that developed over the years. A lot of people have wood allergies. A lot of people are allergic to cedar. I'm happy I'm not allergic to that. A lot of people are allergic to zebra wood. And my brother's also allergic to pine, so it's just one of those things. I think that's it. I think that covers most of the questions. There's a few other questions that really pertain to the video that will come out on Saturday or Sunday, and that's finishing this project. That'll cover how I'm going to attach the top to the cabinet, putting the bottom in, all those sort of things. So it was really great to get such good feedback on this project. Again, as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.